There we are. Welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast Live Edition. Jeep and Terry and my good
Brady
buddy.
Billy.
Oh, finger goes that way.
Yeah, it throws me off.
It's backwards. I
It
can't figure
is.
it
So
out.
I move and I have to go the opposite direction of the screen, and I'm like,
Yeah, but if you don't, then you can't. It doesn't make the words right.
yeah,
It's a reverse. It's not a mirror image.
no, it's a reverse image.
Yeah. So yeah, the glare off my glasses is bad.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, well. All right.
Why is Facebook dumb?
That's what it does. Yo, Johnny, Jake. Hey, I got that sticker out to you. So I don't know if you've gotten it yet, but I've sent it.
Facebook ain't working.
Johnny's on Facebook.
I'm saying my Facebook ain't working.
Oh, your face, dude. It wasn't loading anything earlier for me.
YouTube right up. It says we're live.
Yeah, so just Facebook, we're moving.
Okay.
Yeah, just double check. Facebook's good.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Oh,
Now
it loads on my phone. It's just ain't
now it just
loading
got an
on.
echo.
Oh, great.
Nope, it went away.
Oh.
Oh, awesome. Yep, glad you got it. Make sure to tag us and everything. Yeah, Johnny, it's been a while. I see you on other lives rather than this one. All right, we'll give a few minutes for a couple more people to come on. Share it out.
I'll watch Facebook on my phone. Yeah, we all need back into the Jeep life. The problem is financially, we just can't get back to the Jeep life.
It's tough.
Oh, geez. It's just, life gets in the way, man. Other hobbies, other projects.
Yes.
And then things don't run right,
Yeah.
and you're chasing that. So,
Yeah, I'm experiencing that.
yeah, I don't know. Why do we do this to ourselves?
I don't know, but then we do it with a smile, so it's even more dumb.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, Josh. Yeah, we'll definitely talk a little bit about that for sure.
It depends.
Yep. All right, I'm going to get the ball rolling so we can jump on here. I've still got a lot to do tonight, so I apologize for
Yeah,
people that haven't gotten on with us. And they'll join. Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast. I am your host, Jeep and Terry, and I'm joined, as always, with my amazing co host over there, Breaking
Not
Billy.
as always.
Yeah,
I was
not as
missing in
always.
action for a few.
Woo!
Life gets in the way and it's been busy, but we're getting back to that Jeep life and it's going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good one. I'm excited about this episode. But as always, our exclusive presenting sponsor, Armorlight, toughest flooring on the trail. Make sure to check them out. Our listeners get a 10% discount, Jeep Life Podcast 10 for a complete Armorlight system at goarmorlight.com. We do appreciate their sponsorship, their continued sponsorship of our podcast. Yeah,
So,
it's
interestingly enough, I pulled up my Armorlight because I've been working on the JK every once in a while when I have a free second.
Yeah.
And I pulled it up, and I would say that there was a little bit of moisture underneath of it, I would say. It felt damp.
Yep.
The Jeep has been in and out of the garage. It doesn't have the floor drain plugs in it. It also has a crack in the back of the hardtop. So I am not giving it the best environment to succeed. Let's
Yep.
put it that
Yep.
way. However, when I pulled it out, I stuck it to my nose and no scent.
Oh,
Nothing. I mean, it smelled like the Jeep in general,
yep.
but it didn't
It
smell
didn't have that
musty.
mildew and musty. Yeah.
None of that. And there was hardly any, rust to
Yep.
say underneath or new rust. I mean, there is one spot on my driver's side floor that just from over time it's worn away the paint.
Yep.
But it wasn't really like eaten through or anything. There was a little surface rust and that was it. So I would say, that triple layer material really does keep it mold and mildew resistant.
It sure doesn't. And yours is one of the, I mean, we're talking probably one of the first big installs that
4,
they ever
5.
had, right?
Yeah. I think we're at 5 years now. It's
Um,
same one.
yeah, that was the surface of the
I haven't
sun. Hey,
replaced it.
yeah.
Nothing.
That, that was a great day. It was so
It was
hot.
hot. It was hot.
We were both soaking wet by the time we were done with that
Yeah.
install. Um, but that's cool. I haven't. I've taken my. I think I'm on version number 3 because we
Right.
go to shows and they would say, "Hey, let's throw a new set in there
You gotta
for
put a
you."
new one in. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'm surprised I haven't worn so I probably put 100,000 miles on that setup.
yeah,
Um, and I haven't worn through the foot, guaranteed 100,000 miles. You're starting to run through the foot area, your heel and on
yep,
the gas pedal. It's just common. But no, it's held up.
yeah. It's a good piece of equipment. One of my
Hmm.
favorite mods. You know,
Absolutely.
even all of our vehicles at work have them. So it's
Yeah.
I don't I it makes life easier when it is
Hmm. Yeah.
easier to clean up. So it's all good. Whew, I'm glad to be back in the studio with you. It's
I know. You've been traveling and I've just been busy.
yeah,
So tell me where you've been. Most recently, last weekend was Bantam Jeep Fest.
yeah,
Um, I've been there. It's an awesome show. I remember the downtown atmosphere. It was awesome. There's a lot to do. They really go above and beyond for that festival.
yeah.
What are your highlights? What you're writing home about? Stuff like that.
Well, it was great to go down. I went down Thursday, left here really early in the morning, so I get there and get set up for the booth and everything.
Right.
Um, Much better show placement this year compared to last year. Just learn your lessons and request a specific area,
Yeah.
to get in the show. Um, then Friday, they made a big deal about having vendors involved with the downtown Jeep invasion, which is where they shut down the roads and
Right.
stuff on Friday night after, a day of the vendor show. And then everybody goes downtown and they have a couple meetup spots north and south of town, and then they just bring the Jeeps in and park them, as
Yep.
closest together as they can in the streets, and then just everybody walks around. It's kind of a carnival atmosphere. There's lots of little vendors selling ice cream, lemonade, hot
Hmm.
dogs, those sort of things, and then of course all the restaurants and stuff that are downtown. We got there. I mean, we left right as soon as we could to get down there, because I wanted to get a good parking space right in the middle of town, so everybody could see the Oracle Jeep,
Yep.
and we could hand out our glow in the dark beads for Mardi Gras beads. And so we get down there early, and I'm like, you know what? We're here. Let's go grab dinner before the chaos starts. Because when we got there was nobody. I mean, we were literally, first three Jeeps that was parked
Yeah. Cool.
in the
Cool.
road, which was great. Um, and so we found this local. We had asked, a couple local people, where's the best place to eat, and without a doubt, everybody said the Chop Shop. And I was like,
Gotcha.
what is that? A steak restaurant? And no, it's a gas station car garage themed um, restaurant.
Hmm.
The executive chef is also the owner. He wanted to give back to the city of Butler because he grew up there. So after culinary school, came back and opened this restaurant. And everybody I talked to that worked there was in a great, just happy. The server that was taking care of us just celebrated 5 years, and she was pointing out people that had been there for 10 years, 12 years, and
Cool.
everybody was super happy. And I'm like, this is a culture that I haven't even gotten to eat any of the food, and we're talking about this. And it's an
Right.
open kitchen. Our table sat right next to the kitchen, and we just watched Bill and the team work, and the food. Chef prepared food like we ordered a hummus that was out of this world, and some poutine that was really good. Had pork and cheese, and it was it was awesome. And very fine version of
Yeah.
chicken and biscuits. It, if you're in the area, go to the Chop Shop. It's right downtown. You can't miss it. But they were awesome, and I can't wait till next year to go.
Cool.
Um, we walked around town. We gave out tons of the beads, and we still didn't. Or maybe a half a percentage point of all the people that were there. We still gave out tons of them.
Yeah.
That was the hottest thing downtown for sure.
Right.
Um, and it was nice. It was humid, but it was nice. It wasn't raining yet.
Right.
Overnight, that's when the rain came in and kicked in, and it was a mess. As a matter of fact, on Saturday when we pulled in, we got there early so we could set up. There was a no there were no vendors there, and it was raining. And I was like, you know what? We're just going to sit here in the Jeep until some people start showing up. Then we'll set up,
Yeah.
because I don't want
Right.
to. I don't want to be doing it in the rain for nobody.
Yep.
Uh, and it was literally 2 hours, 2.5 hours before the first people were showing up.
Oh
Uh,
wow. Well,
and
everyone took their time, went and got breakfast, waiting out the rain.
waiting out the rain. Yep. And it becomes a muddy mess uh, out on the trails, right?
Oh,
It,
absolutely.
the it's all outdoors, and it's all out in fields, and the obstacle course. They have trails on site and off site. A friend of the podcast, Rob Jeep Daddy.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Jeep Daddy Garage over
yeah,
on YouTube. Yeah.
he was
So
supervising all the trail rides.
yeah, he
And
does it every year. He helps set up the courses, marking out all the
yeah,
trails. He really puts in a lot of effort, even outside of just prepping for Bantam. He goes out there year round, make sure that the trails are well upkeep, and
Yeah,
so
and he even altered the trails this year, knowing that the mud was coming
oh
in.
yeah,
So he took different directions with it. But he came by on Saturday, maybe late Saturday afternoon, just to hang out. Um, and he was covered in mud top to bottom. He
yeah.
was showing me pictures of just the staging area.
Oh
There were
gosh.
recoveries happening in the staging area. Um, one of the
Jeez.
Yeah, one of the trails they had to call lockers only, um,
Oh,
and I think they said 35s and up for
yeah.
for one of the trails. I mean, it just as it was so crazy, but it was good to hang out with him, kind of reconnect. I hadn't seen him. I guess maybe it'd been a year and a half, but
Yeah.
but it
I
was
actually was hanging out with him at the Roush Creek off road race,
oh yeah,
and yeah, it was a good time hanging out and seeing him.
he's a good dude, good builder. Um,
Mhm.
so it was one of those things where I'm looking at two personalized license plate, and one of them is hate mud because I can't stand mud. They were
Yeah.
like people would come up and go, "Hey, did you do the vendor ride?" Because
It's like no.
they offer a vendor, and I was like, "Nope, I have no
Yeah.
desire." Because then I have
Stay
to
out of
clean the
that.
show vehicle, right? No,
Yeah, it's not fun.
no, not at all. Did get to hang out with Nate, SWB Crawler on
Over on
Instagram and
YouTube, yeah.
YouTube's. Yep. Um, he always comes by. He and the family make that trek, and he comes by
Yeah.
and hangs
It's
out. So
good
it's
guy.
good to see him. And the highlight of the weekend was the Northwest Jeepcast guys were,
I know.
yeah, they were
They
finishing
messaged
their
me
ride.
and
Yeah,
yeah, they messaged me and was going to see if I was out there too. They wanted to catch up. Obviously we've had them on the podcast before.
yep,
They're great guys, Gary and Gary. And I think there was a young lady traveling with them as well now.
yeah.
I think it was Gary's
It's one of the Gary's daughter. Yeah,
daughters. Yeah.
yeah,
And it seemed like another gentleman was hanging out with
yep,
them as well.
yep.
Cool.
They came by, hang out with the booth, brought me over a T-shirt. Um,
Oh, heck yeah.
but yeah, it was great. I was going to try to make it over to because they were camping there. I was going to try to make it
Right.
over, and when you're vending and working, it's tiring, and
Yeah.
so
Pretty
it's
weird going
yeah,
going to a show and not actually doing
I
anything.
know, right? Um,
Like,
but I didn't get a chance to make it out there. But we texted back and forth before they pulled out Sunday morning. Wish them safe travels back across the country. They were ending their travels this year at
yep.
Bantam. 3 years ago, they were starting their journey from it. So, safe travels, Gary's. Um, Got to hang out with Jay and Jamie at Steer Smarts. Uh,
Cool.
they brought Freeze, the big 4xe
Right.
ice cream truck, and that thing's just crazy. It's so much
Yeah.
fun.
Unfortunately, I bet not many people were eating ice cream.
They were handing out rocket pops. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Um, the highlight, Gary and Gary was amazing, but the highlight was to get to go out for dinner with Mike and Mike from Globex.
Oh yeah. They're
Um,
good guys.
yeah, the Steer Smarts guys and Mike and Mike, we all went out to dinner with our good friend Howard Fulton. Um,
Oh.
yeah, so we
Yeah.
hung out with him. So all of us went out to dinner to celebrate Radis's birthday. So happy birthday, Radis. Um,
Yeah,
and
and Howard's over at Kuzman Auto
yep,
now, I
yeah,
believe. Yep.
Koonsman, yep. He's doing well. He was hanging out with Super Winch and Weston.
Cool. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
good companies. Yep.
yeah. So that was cool, and got to see my friends over there. It it was great. I it's not a huge show, but it's a big show. Um,
Yeah, and it's not all the way on this coast. So, like, it's not
yeah,
all the way on the East Coast.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you get some companies that are located a little more central
yep,
states that travel to that show, which is nice. Where it's an extra 5.5 hours to get like or longer. So like some of these, companies that are located in Tennessee, it's not a bad drive
Right.
for them to get up to Bantam. I mean, yeah, you got to drive through most of Pennsylvania, and it's vertical, but it's not across. Which
Right.
across to Jersey, it's hard to get some good. That's I think one of the tough things about New Jersey Jeep Invasion and the vendors there. It's a lot of the why you see a lot of the same vendors every year is because of that. How far it is for some of these.
Yeah.
Which,
But it was really good to hang out with everybody. And again, Radis said, happy birthday, and you can have your birthday anytime I get to go out and have dinner with you. It was a good time. But yeah, Benton Feet, because of the rain, our sales weren't where we'd like them to be, but it was great to have interaction with people, and maybe because it wasn't so slammed, we could have a little more quality time with
right.
people and spend the time um, seeing old friends and meeting new ones. And I think
That's nice.
that's what those events are for, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's great to be able to do that. And I think all the rain kind of got in my head about all the water. So
Mm.
tonight's episode, the topic is Jeeps and water. How deep is too deep? And so we'll get into that a little bit
I mean,
later.
so you can drown in an inch of water.
It's so
Just
true.
throwing that out there.
So true, Jason. um,
I mean humans, but yeah, Jason too.
um, we've had a few reviews that I read on over the last couple episodes. I didn't get any new ones, so make sure to send those wherever you get your podcast. Review us. Give us a Google review. Give us a Facebook review. Give us any kind of review you want. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. What are some of the others? I think I got everything. Is
Oh
there any?
yeah,
So make sure to
all
go
the
there
all the places.
or send us stuff at info@jeeplifepodcast.com.
Or comment on our Facebook, Instagram, anything.
Yeah.
So,
Or
hey,
comments while
you're
you're
going to be
listening.
at some events.
Yes, I am.
You're going to be at some events because I don't go to events anymore.
Womp
Not this year,
womp.
at least.
No,
Womp, womp,
I
womp.
will drag you out in the future.
I know. It's been so chaotic with, this last weekend I was working on the house. Next weekend I have a buddy's wedding. And it's
Mm,
just like, I'm in that time of life that it's like every weekend is,
yeah.
a work event or a this event or a wedding or
Yeah.
traveling to go see something,
Well,
so
and you
it's fun.
don't work in the industry anymore, so it's your events are for
Unfortunately,
a different thing.
yeah, and also projects and timelines change and direction of vehicles changes. So yeah, June 13th to the 15th. Obviously, you were just at Bantam Jeep Fest, and that just passed. So you didn't remove that one, and it threw me
I
a
didn't.
curveball.
I'm the worst.
July 11th to the 13th is New Jersey Jeep Invasion in Wildwood, New Jersey. And as always, the weekend after, July 18th to the 20th, is PA Allbridge Jeep Fest in Carlisle, PA. And the other big one, we're going to hit it right now, August 21st to the 23rd, Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's the big daddy of the East Coast. So you got to head down there, say hi to Terry, and hang out with everyone.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's always so hot down there, but it's huge. It's great. You get to see
Yeah,
everybody.
it's a great show.
Yeah,
Um, it's like the Mecca. It's the centralized area for everyone. So
yeah. If you want to put your event or a good event that we should put highlight on here, send us an email info@jeeplifepodcast.com so we can get it on our calendar and our awareness. And who knows, maybe we'll even show up to it. I did give out a ton of stickers this weekend. Um, it was great to see people that recognized us and everything. So it's cool.
yeah.
All right, main
Oh,
topic:
geez.
um, Jeeps and water. How deep is too deep?
Well, all right. Can we clarify something?
Yeah.
It's never usually just water.
Mm.
That's usually the problem. So we'll
Yeah.
start there.
Well, so the JK had fording ability of up to 30.5 inches
Yeah, somewhere in that
ish,
neighborhood.
somewhere
Yeah.
in that neighborhood.
So
Um,
definition of fording, or however you want to pronounce it, is basically slowly, keyword slowly under 5 miles an hour, crawling through water where there is no major wake behind you and forward. It's slowly moving through it. That's fording a river, or the old timers when they're horse and buggy, they would ford across the river.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's fording. Now, running 35 miles an hour into a puddle and water going everywhere is not fording a puddle.
Yeah.
So,
No.
just
Uh,
clarification.
I that's good to kind of bring that up, and we'll talk a little bit more about that low and slow kind of thing. The JK was about 30 inches, a little over 30 inches. A stock Sport or Sahara JL or JT has about a 31.5 inch
Yep.
capability, and a Rubicon with the Extreme Recon package, which has I think 35s on it now. You can
Hmm.
get about 33.5 inches of depth.
Yes.
The rule of thumb is if it's coming over the hood, it's probably too deep.
I'm gonna be a little bit more cautious on that. If it's coming over your fenders, it's too deep
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
because that's about where the top of your airbox sits.
Yep.
The inlet to your airbox is at roughly the top of your fenders on the JL, on the JK. So, if you're worried about that side of things, I would say your fenders are too. When you hit your fenders in water, you're too deep.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
if you have 35-inch tires and you're going over the tires, you're above your fording depth.
yes. Yeah. So when you add a lift and you add bigger tires, obviously you gain some. I mean, I think mine somewhere in the 48-inch range. Um, but I the hood line along the side kind of is too much, right? Because water can go straight in there.
Yeah, I would say that's about too much. I mean, like, so it depends. I would classify different levels. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and levels of damage or levels of maintenance needed afterwards. So, let's bring the water up to roughly about 12 inches, where it starts hitting your pumpkin. Your pumpkin
Yeah.
is your differential and your axle. So, if you don't necessarily have very good axle seals and you start fording water about up to 12 to 14 inches, which that's about where the bottom of the axle sits, and as you add bigger tires and so on and so forth, um, you increase that slightly. So let's go call it 15 inches max. You're going to start pulling water into your axle tubes, no matter what. And if you don't have good seals on the outer of your rears or the inner of your front axle, you're going to pull that into the gear oil, and you basically make chocolate milk.
Yep.
And
I've had
over
that soup
time,
before.
yes, it does nasty things to your bearings. It does nasty things to your differential because usually it's not just water in there. It is usually some type of grit, aggregate, or something else that is going to start eating away at your bearings,
Yeah.
pinion bearings, carrier bearings. It starts messing with your backlash on your gears. It can literally act like sandpaper in there. So there's your first maintenance level. So you got to pull your diff covers. You got to make sure they're all cleaned out. And if you do have chocolate soup, you really need to clean it out. So that's number one. Number two, okay, let's move up a little bit higher. We're hitting the bottom of your frame rails. and that's probably in the 17 to 20-inch range, depending on your lift and everything else, plus or minus. So that's where you start getting water and this nasty soup into your frame rails. And guess what? It doesn't drain out all the time. Also, you're probably going to pull it up on top of your skid plates. It's going to sit up there and start causing issues of corrosion and other things because once again, that water ain't nothing. It's there's definitely going to be some schmutz in it, and it's going to do nasty things. So also probably hit the bottom of your the seals on the front of your motor as well if you're starting getting up that area, your crank. So we're looking at maybe there's some dirt, dust, debris there, starts eating away at your seals. I mean, so yeah, you're once you start getting into the your frame level, um, you're getting a little too deep. All right, now we're gonna go on JK specifically, JKJL. You get to the bottom of the door, right? So that is your door seam, and guess what?
It's
Not
not
waterproof.
waterproof. No.
Speaking from experience, when I've opened a door and I've had a actual waterfall coming out of my door.
Yeah.
So if your floor drains aren't in correctly or they're not in proper, they're half sticking out, half in, this, that, the other thing, guess what?
Yeah.
Water rises. And your Jeep sinks. So water is going to start coming up in through your floor pans, and it's not good. So that's where Armor Light comes in, and our presenting sponsor is going to help you out there a lot because they're going to resist all the mold, mildew, and everything else that you're going to ensue if you
Yep.
have carpet.
And very
I know.
easily accessible drain plugs,
Yep,
so that water
exactly.
just doesn't sit there.
hmm So, and then you start kind of, as you move higher up the vehicle, specifically on the interior, there is your transmission control modules that if that gets wet, it doesn't like it. There's your shifter box. I mean, this is all still within that 25 to 30-inch range. Like you're still there. So they're saying that if you have 30 inches of fording depth, you're pretty much going to have water inside the cab, and be prepared.
Yeah.
Um, Now, luckily enough, with the 3.6 liter, I am not sure about the 2. I think the 2.0, the alternator, is still at the top of the motor as well. So, there was a question that was thrown out in the chat earlier that said, where was that? It was something
It was
about
Josh, uh, but the water alternator is quotient
is your wall alternator waterproof?
waterproof.
Um, I wouldn't say necessarily waterproof because is anything really waterproof? But I would give it a very good water and weather resistant.
Resistant. Yep.
So the reason why I say that is because when you're driving down the road, yes, there's going to be, you're driving in the rain, you have rain coming through the radiator in the front, your engine bay gets damp. If you're driving slower speeds and you're kicking up some of the moisture, you have the big spray off those big tires in the front, you're going to start wind flow ends up putting moisture into your engine bay. It happens. Now, Jeep knows this. Most car manufacturers know this. So your alternator is probably IP67, IP, ingress protected. It can take a pressure washer, but also it shouldn't be run underwater and it still expect to function properly. So I would say, yes, your alternator is water resistant and you can get it wet, but it probably shouldn't run. And then on top of it, once you start throwing water into an alternator, there's leads to corrosion and other things. So, corrosion is a big thing in bearings, any type of rotating assembly. It throws balances off, and all of a sudden you have, some corroded pieces in there. The weight's off, and you're spinning funky and things aren't going well. Prematurely wearing bearings, and that's not fun. So, I mean, on top of it, And also, if you get crud or dirt in there, it as soon as you add water, it acts like sandpaper and it just creates a slurry, and you can't get rid of it constantly.
Right.
So, I mean, any type of rotating assembly, whether it's your axles, drive shafts, U joints, that's another big thing. People don't realize that when you go through water, those seals on U joints are not watertight. They will pull water into those the bearings, and if you have a really hot U joint and you go into water, it cools down rapidly. That it actually creates a vacuum inside of things, and it'll pull water. It pulls, rapid cooling is a big thing. I mean, if I wouldn't say your U joint is like scalding hot, but there is definitely some type of thermal incompatibility between the two.
Yeah. And
Um,
anytime metal like that does that expansion and quick, it'll crack and cause weaknesses.
it causes other problems, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so, and also, if your seals aren't great, your rear axle seal's leaking like a sieve, and you go through a water puddle, guess what? That's just another place for water to get in, dirt to get in, grime to get in.
Well,
Um,
they're the vent hoses as well on the axles.
yeah,
So
so your vent hoses, they come up high enough, and that's where they actually get that 30-inch fording level. That's how high
yeah,
they're supposed to go. But I mean, realistically, the vent in a JK sits right behind the wheel well on the frame, and that is not very high for the front differential. And then the rear actually just tucks up in behind the wheel well in the back. So,
yep.
uh, not a good idea.
No,
I stay away from it, and I go through it very, very slow.
most creek crossings, you're maybe getting 10 or 12 inches of water
Yeah,
tops.
I mean, also 12 inches of running water can carry away a vehicle.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say is when depending on the force of that. I mean, some runoff from rain can definitely cause water to speed up, and it can pull you downstream.
Oh, it can, absolutely. If you have 12 inches of rushing water that you got to put all four tires in to get to the other side,
Yeah,
you could potentially end up over a couple feet.
yeah. I see Shayna's question, and I want to bring it on. So I'm going to bring it up after we finish up the topic. We're not very far from the end of the topic, but
Yeah.
the whole fording thing. People, I saw a video today on Facebook of somebody just slamming through, and I'm like,
Well, there's a
oh,
difference between fording and mudding.
yeah, well, but it was not shallow. It
Or
was,
playing in the mud.
yeah, for sure.
Um, hey, if you're okay with taking your vehicle out and possibly needing to put a new motor in it, which I've done 4 times and it's not fun, um, go for it.
Yeah,
Right now, the latest price I got for a replacement motor on a JK is approximately $13,000. So take that into account.
yeah,
However,
yeah,
if you're looking to replace it with two extra cylinders, by all means, have fun with it, run it through the mud. Hey, I get it. It's a lot of fun. I've been there, I've done it. I have also blown up a motor in it. Um,
yeah,
did I mention I blew up a motor?
yes,
Did I mention ingress water into cylinder goes
yeah,
boom?
yeah. Hydrolock is not a fun thing.
It's not even just the hydrolock. It can foul out your plugs. It can do a lot of other things. Um, it messes with your sensors, all your connectors. Yeah, if you have a JK from 2012,
Yeah,
I hate to break it to you, but your connectors are not watertight anymore.
yeah, right.
Like it they things degrade over time. rubber loses it seals its compression set. There are a lot of things that water can do a lot of damage. So I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out there. Um, but how deep is too deep? I would say it's all based on your comfort level and also how fast you're going through the water. There's a very big difference between having fun and running through the water and having, splashing around. That's awesome. Um, but there's a long road of recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, do it at your own peril, but understand that that one real good deep run could cost you down the down the road, right?
And yes, that is $13,000 for a dealer installed.
Oof, yeah, ouch. All right, so let's do this question because it's something that you and I have kind of intimate um,
Oh
knowledge
gosh.
with.
I have a 2017 JK and the fan will not stop running. Well,
Welcome to having a 2017 JK.
I'm going to be honest. It's a good thing that the fan works.
Yeah,
So let's
so
start
that
there.
troubleshooting is done.
That's good. You don't have to fix the fan. Also, when on the highway, it almost overheats, but goes back down when I slow down. Not sure what's going on with it. Huh. They have changed the radiator and water pump and thermostat, but still having an issue. So, and I hate to ask this question, have you replaced your radiator hoses and or the sensor? Is your
Could
temp
be.
sensor it goes back into your ECU, you read the temp sensor, and it supposedly ramps up your fan. So we have a multi-stage fan in the Jeep JKs. It's not a mechanical fan. It is electrically controlled. So if your sensor's throwing wrong code, wrong signal, that could be a possibility. um, there could be also just a bubble, which it doesn't seem like it. If you replace the thermostat, the pump, I don't
Yeah,
think it would be a
did
bubble.
did was the system burped after it was done?
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
your radiator, it says it was replaced. It could be. I I've had a radiator clog and not get airflow through,
yeah.
but it
I
says that the
mean,
radiator's been replaced.
another alternative is that your heater core's clogged.
It could be. It could be.
Didn't
Um,
change hose pressure bled at the dealer. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've had the pressure bled at a dealer too. They're not always the best.
yeah, it's tough. So I had the same thing with mine. Highway temps is where it would overheat when it was so down, then it would cool off, and it was the gasket. No, it was a crack in the water pump. Um,
Mm,
and once we replaced that and replaced the gasket, then we were able to kind of do that. Um,
heater core bled too. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
it was and a thermostat. You could have replaced a thermostat, but one of the other components caused the thermostat to go bad again. I mean, how many times have we done multiple thermostats back to
I
back?
pulled a thermostat out of the box and it doesn't work.
Yeah. So I mean that
Literally,
could
you pull it out, put a heat gun to it at 212 degrees. It's supposed to open, and I sat there and heat gun, heat gun, heat gun until I got the map gas torch out, heated the end of it, it still didn't open.
yeah.
So I mean, but so the heater
It,
core was flush, not yeah. I get what you're saying there. Um, at idle I mean, I don't know. It's just an odd one.
yeah.
So, I
Is there
mean,
anything blocking
don't drive
airflow?
fast. It's a
Is it?
Jeep.
Yeah. Is there anything blocking the intake? Like, do you have a winch or a new um,
Yeah, I mean that's another
grill
thing. If you have
cover.
one of those under the sun insert things that
Yeah,
they claim that it doesn't block airflow, but I beg to differ.
yeah. There's a reason why it's
If
wide
any
open.
grill inserts, do you have one of those angry eye grills? Because I've heard they cause your Jeep to overheat too.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm just wondering. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that could be throwing things off. I mean, it could be a sensor. But you said they replaced the sensor.
I think the
Okay, here's
cooling.
an odd one. Your
Yeah,
radiator cap.
yeah. It could be the wrong pressure. Yeah,
I mean, like, there is weird things. I would say, possibly your hoses that can cause some weird things. Just the main radiator, upper and lower radiator hose, you can replace them yourself if you or feel confident in that, or take it to. I wouldn't take it back to the dealer. Um, I would take it to a reputable local shop at this point.
yeah,
That, so,
yeah.
if you're in the area, I would recommend Dave and Wayne's over in Bethlehem.
I think
Um,
she's in New Jersey,
New
and
Jersey,
the
I would
answer to
say
that is
Globex.
Globex. Yeah,
Yeah, Globex, or if you're, you know, willing to do the drive, not that bad. I would say Bethlehem. Um, there's obviously other good shops around, depending on where you're at, located in Jersey.
yeah. But thanks for that question, and we try to sometimes
No,
do the
no grill
one-off question.
inserts, and yes, I have an angry eye grill. I'm just joking. It's your Jeep life. We're just living in it.
That's right. That's right. Well, send those questions. Maybe we'll put a full topic together at info@jeeplifepodcast.com, and we I, we do that. I mean, how many times do we just all get together and troubleshoot our own Jeeps? It's
Troubleshoot. I just start removing things.
as referenced, Big Red's Sans engine.
Yeah, and the buggy that I've been working on, and I just started disconnecting things and seeing what changes.
Yeah. Oh,
And it's really funny when you start unplugging like four injectors and it's still running exactly the same as it was running.
yeah. That's
That was a good
nuts. That's nuts. All right. Where can people find us?
Well, you already found us, so tell a friend, but we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of your major streaming platforms where you get your podcasts. You can also reach us at info@jeeplifepodcast.com. And I don't know, do we have a phone number anymore?
Uh, no,
I don't believe so. So
no.
just send us an email, leave us a comment, a review, and keep on living your Jeep life.
Absolutely. Well, I thanks our presenting sponsor, Armorlight. If your company or you want to sponsor the podcast, head over to Patreon, help us out, or info at Jeep Life Podcast, and let's work out a deal to sponsor. I mean, uh, it we will appreciate it, and everybody else will as well. But
Okay.
for Break It Billy, it's good to have you back on the show. It's I've missed you. We were talking about it on off air, how far I miss you so much.
Well, life gets in the way, buddy.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it
We're
does.
back at it.
Let's get back together and hang out. And I'm Jeep and Terry, and here's a big Jeep wave to you, everybody.